This is Sandeep Gupta here, tuning in from Melbourne, where I'm for the weekend just visiting. And the topic that I want to talk about today was setbacks on the healing journey. And really, I think this is a very important topic because one of the most important things is to know that when you're on a healing journey and you're on a holistic medicine program, sometimes we can have really very encouraging periods of healing. But it's important to know that it's not always a straight path towards recovery. And often what you find is there's going to be some steps forward, followed by steps backward, and then further steps forward, and some steps backward, and further steps forward again. And so, in a sense, it's not a straight line. And I think this is a really important thing to know, and just to have the expectations around this, because in one way, if you're expecting that the healing journey is always going to be straightforward and a straight line, and you face a setback, then that can really cause a great deal of disappointment. And some of the setbacks that we often encounter on the healing journey are, for instance, traveling. So when you go traveling, often you're not able to take care of your diet and your outer environment, and even just taking your formulas and supplements regularly may not be possible and in the same regularity as when you're at home. And also, there's many other things that we encounter when we're traveling. Often the environment on an airplane, eating out regularly, and just being exposed to different organisms such as parasites can also affect us in a very great way. And so I often find when people travel overseas, that can cause a bit of a health setback. And one of the key things is just to be ready for that, and to know that this is often what happens, and therefore giving extra attention to one's health regime before and afterwards can be very important. Other examples are just having a period in your life where you just feel like you can't follow your diet as well and follow your overall program as well for various reasons. And another big reason for that can be an emotional upset, whether that be due to someone in the family having illness, having someone close to you pass away, having financial setbacks. All of these things can be examples of life events which can really affect you in a great way. And what can often happen as a result of these life events is, for a period of time, you may find that you're not able to follow your healing regime to the fullest extent. And really that's just because a lot of your energy simply needs to go into coping with the emotional upset that's happened and finding some equilibrium again. And one of the really important things is then being aware of the effects or the emotional reactions we can have after an upset has taken place, or after a setback has taken place, rather. And so sometimes what can happen is, if we notice that, let's say we've gone backwards a little bit on our health journey over the last few weeks, or we've had some kind of setback, whether it be due to one of those factors that I mentioned, or something totally different. There can be a multitude of factors that can cause it. But one of the things that can happen is one can start feeling really disappointed and start catastrophizing, is the term that I use. And what I mean by that is then you can start developing some really catastrophic type of narratives, where you start feeling a lot of shame around the fact that you didn't follow your program properly for a while, or you can start feeling that, look, even I'm never going to get well, and even I'm not even supporting myself. How can I expect anyone else to support me? And a bunch of other narratives can start coming up after one of these setbacks. And I think one of the really important things is to just be aware that this situation often will happen, where you find that you've had a setback, and then there's a tendency to then compound it through the narratives that you create. And just being aware that these narratives are starting to creep in, and you're starting to feel like, oh, I'm never going to get better, and I always go backwards, and the life is just not on my side, or whatever other narratives are coming in. If you just give those narratives a bit of awareness and give them some space to be there, because really they're part of you that's feeling really disappointed due to the fact that you've had a setback on your health journey. And those parts of you just need a little bit of time to process and just make sense of that whole situation where you've gone a little bit backwards on your healing journey. So really what I'm saying is just being aware that this situation can often happen where you have a setback on your healing process, and that this can sometimes get compounded by our emotional reaction. Often the awareness is enough. And really the big key is just to get back on our healing process as soon as possible, and just give ourselves enough time to process. And if you can do some journaling, most of you know that I'm a really big fan of that as well. So these are a few little tips around setbacks on the healing process, and how you can just bring some more awareness into this sort of situation. So I'd really love it if you guys could make some comments and share what sort of setbacks you've had on the healing journey up till now, and how did you cope with that situation? And did you find that your emotional reactions tended to compound the situation, or were you able to jump back onto your process pretty quickly? So yeah, I look forward to really just having a bit more of a discussion around setbacks on the healing journey and what sort of experiences we've had. So thanks for tuning in today, guys, and I look forward to talking to you further below. Thank you.